Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to another day in Grit City.
A Monday.
A Monday indeed. The week has just begun.
How was your week?
Oh, my week? I actually did a lot of driving, a lot of passengering.
A lot of passengering.
This week. Yeah, I did a couple shows, and one of them was in Walla Walla. One of them was in Vancouver. So I spread my wings from the Grit City and saw a little bit of the Sweet Onion City and
Oh yeah.
the lesser of the two Vancouvers.
The lesser of the two. I'd like to think it's the greater of the two Vancouvers.
Yeah, you think so? Oh.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Yeah, but I didn't do hardly anything in Tacoma.
Yeah.
Did you have any Tacoma activities this week?
Well, we went to Red Star together.
That's right. We did. It was your birthday this week.
Yeah, it was.
Happy birthday to Warren.
Yeah, thank you.
Send him money on
I guess
Venmo.
last Monday.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even mention it last week, though.
We did. Just briefly.
Oh, yeah, at the very end. You snuck it in.
Very, very brief. But yeah, Red Star on.
Yeah, we had some good tacos.
Yeah,
we went with our good friend Logan.
It's on 6th in St. Helens.
Yeah,
and
had the margarita.
They had the How was the margarita?
I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I like margaritas.
I've been to
the special. You know,
I think I've only ever been to one place where I was like, this is not a good margarita.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it wasn't like like if Taco Bell did margaritas. It was like it seemed like a nice Mexican place, and I was like, this is not a good margarita.
Yeah, well, so it goes sometimes.
Yeah, but
I think that's like your pillar if you're a Mexican restaurant.
I think so too. I mean, yeah, because like mojito's not nearly as popular as the margarita.
Yeah, right. Or even shots of tequila.
Yeah, for sure. That like frozen drink, that little frozen drink we got from that one.
Oh yeah, the
bartender.
Bartender was friends with Logan. I forget his name.
Yeah,
I think it was like Luke or something.
Yeah, those were pretty good too.
Yeah, a little slush.
Yeah,
a little bit of birthday slush.
Yeah, and I had the catfish taco.
Oh yeah, that's
never
right.
had catfish in a taco before. It was wonderful. Had the pickles too.
Oh yeah,
the pickles were really nice with it.
Pickles is a rare move in a taco.
Good pairing.
A little bit of variety for you.
But yeah, for those of you that aren't familiar, Red Star tacos and tequila. I wonder if they have another location. I think they might.
I'm not sure. It seems like they're doing well enough. They might be able to expand.
Well, we went to the one on 6th in St. Helens, and they got a pretty good variety of tacos set at different prices, but you can get like 3 of any kind.
Like 3 for $12 or 3 for $15, depending on the style you want.
Yeah, it was really good. I think nice place for lunch or dinner.
Oh, I got a funny story.
Yeah.
I lost my key earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Lost it for a good 3-4 hours, my key.
Mm-hmm.
I come into the garage. It's underneath the microphone stand.
Oh. I never would have found it.
So stupid.
Underneath.
But it's funny because Willie lost his key under the microphone stand like the first week he moved in. Made fun of him for a long time for it. My comeuppance came for me.
Were like the keys just on the floor?
No, it was one key that had fallen off of my ring.
Oh.
I know, I'd secured it by putting it on the ring, but the ring was not secure enough.
The odds that happened.
I know, especially because I had already lost that key and had to get a replica 2 days ago. Luckily, I knew someone who lived in the building.
Where'd you get the replica?
I knew someone who lived in the building.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. What a lucky coincidence.
Yeah, that is a lucky coincidence.
The one girl in Tacoma who I still talk to.
You ever think it's interesting that, like, have you seen those machines that'll make copies of keys?
Yeah, I had to use it. Not 2 days ago. They have a kiosk in the Bartels.
Yeah. I wonder what happens if you put a government key in there.
Ooh.
Like, do you think it knows it's a government key?
And identifies and says no?
Or, like, even worse, it calls, like, the feds on you.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
Because, like,
you're not allowed to make copies of government
the armory on, like, a military base, it's got, like, a big, what do you call that? Like combination lock.
Oh yeah.
But the weapons themselves are inside these racks, which are secured with padlocks. So you have all these government keys that open up padlocks that store like machine guns and grenade launchers. And I'm wondering, like, if you try to make like a copy of that, like just
yeah, that like
the whole like key copying machine just breaks apart, and an ATF agent that's been hiding in it the entire time just tackles you, and he's like, "Gotcha."
not in my country.
Which
it's even surprising that we use physical keys for a lot of those things anymore.
Physical keys?
You know, like in my house we changed most of the doors so that it's just a combo.
Yeah. I mean like I said, the lock on the door itself, the big blast door to the armory, is a combination lock. But yeah, the weapons racks, we've probably been using the same like weapons storage hardware since like the Korean War.
Oh yeah, well, not a lot of urgent need to upgrade.
No, not really. Although I have a news story that I'll get to later, which might raise some questions about that.
I'm curious.
But I did want to bring up, I got stuck in traffic on the 705 on Sunday for a while. And it was just like... It was
20 minutes, half an hour?
I'd say like 15, 20 minutes. It feels like an hour.
Oh, yeah, because it's such a narrow exchange, and you're really paying attention to all the merging going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like that ramp from like northbound to get onto 705 where you have traffic sorting from the 7... getting off the 5 and wanting to take like East 26th Street too.
Oh yeah.
So
I know some people during construction would use it to bypass the construction.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So I'm stuck in this traffic. I'm like, what is going on? I-5 is wide open. Like what have I done to end up in this
some kind of
on a
major accident
on a Sunday? I was thinking that. I was like, surely a truck rolled over or something. Nope. It's Jeff Dunham at the Tacoma Dome. And
well, that's a big event, you know. That changes the world around you.
It's a big event, but it just makes me mad when I'm in a traffic jam and I know 99% of the people there in that traffic jam are just like, I can't wait until the terrorist one is like, silence, I'll kill you. And I'm like...
Well, they get to think about it this way. They're happy in a traffic jam. Much better than having a bunch of people with road rage.
I think it was like 15 minutes before the show started. So
so they might have been nervous.
Yeah,
excited.
They were probably
I
thinking.
I don't miss the great opener.
They were.
Who do you think opens for Jeff Dunham?
What if it's just Jeff Dunham with like a different like puppet?
He uses one puppet as an opener,
and
one as a closer.
But yeah, no, they were probably thinking of committing some terroristic activities themselves just to get to the dome to go see the edgy dummy guy.
Well, you got to get to the dome.
He's still not canceled.
Not yet.
But I got canceled today in that traffic jam.
Cancel it. Cancel. Culture's over.
It's. But
if you made it through this far, you're safe.
So speaking of weapons storage and terroristic activity, did you hear about the guy that was walking the railroad tracks that got shot on Friday by Tacoma?
He got shot walking on the railroad tracks?
Well, he was on the railroad tracks, which is trespassing. The deputies or the police show up, and they end up shooting him. Because, would you like to guess what weapon this gentleman drew? You might only find it on military bases, or at least you should only find it on military bases.
A bazooka?
Not quite. A hand grenade. This man pulled out a hand grenade on the cops. Of all things.
That's pretty good.
It's like, where did he get that?
Oh, yeah. That's a hard object to get your hands on.
I'm sure it is, and it also sounds like a very fun object. Something, you know.
Well, you were telling me you trained in grenade throwing. You got to throw it like a shot put.
That's at least how they train you to throw it, in like this weird way, because they're afraid some idiot that's never thrown anything in their life before is going to try actually throwing it like a baseball, like how I probably would actually throw it in a combat situation.
It goes over your shoulder and falls behind you.
Yeah, or like, they just like spike it down right in front of them. It's like, wow. all that training wasted.
That's funny.
Right.
So they gunned him down because he had a grenade?
Yeah, he pulled a grenade on him. They're like, "Sir, what are you doing?" And he pulls out a hand grenade, and they're like,
That's
"Oh,
the kind of guy you don't want to mess
they're
around
like,
with.
"Oh shit!"
If you pull that random of a move, nobody knows what the next move is.
I couldn't imagine like those guys like afterwards. They're like, "Somebody just pulled a hand grenade on us." I hope they have body cam or dash cam video because it's almost unbelievable. Like,
oh yeah,
somebody pulled a hand grenade on them. That's crazy. What was going through that person's mind where it's like, I know what I'll do. I'll draw a hand grenade on them.
Right, that's like almost that's a little bit more crazy, but in the same direction of crazy as the guy who attacked you and Logan and the crew outside of the comedy club, and he pulled out the baton.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
The non-traditional weaponry is always funny to me.
It is, especially because like I feel like gun, you don't need a lot of skill or training with it. Baton, to use it effectively, I think you at least have to know somewhat like what you're doing, like where to strike people. Like you can't just go swinging. You know?
Yeah.
Especially because like if somebody grabs the baton, then what do you do? You know?
Then you're screwed.
Yeah, you're toast. That's all you had?
You got to, yeah. Then they can use it on you.
Mm-hmm.
Then they will probably.
I would. I thought about it
before turning the baton on himself.
Yeah, but the hand grenade just.
That's a every direction weapon.
Do you think like he just he was just carrying one on him for years? Like he was just some wanderer, and like he finally like. They're like, we got you surrounded. The jig is up. Like they caught him for, I don't know, trespassing or whatever, and he's like, well, I'm gonna go out, like, you know.
Yeah. Well, how far do you think you have to throw a grenade? Like, what's the minimum distance you got to throw it to be safe?
Ooh, man, that's a great question. I can't remember what the kill range of a grenade is.
But even just like the injury blast radius.
It's further than you would think.
Like you think you got to throw it like 20 yards?
That's probably a good guess because I think like 5 meters it'll get you good.
It'll get you.
It'll get you good.
Oh.
I think. Don't quote me
on that. That's a long-range weapon then.
I didn't really pay that much attention during grenade training.
Yeah, it wasn't your specialty.
I'm like, I know how to fucking throw.
You're not going to be a grenadier.
It's like I know how to throw shit. Well, the grenadier gets a grenade launcher. You don't even have to throw it anymore.
Doesn't even have to throw it ever?
Doesn't. Nope. Well, I mean, maybe once, but, during grenade training. But after they're like, hey, you throw a mean grenade. How'd you like to be a grenadier? And they're like, sure. And it's like, by the way, this machine does it all for you. I wonder if that...
It's like, promoted to your level of incompetence.
Yeah.
Like, you're skilled at this. Let's put you up so no longer you can't use that skill anymore.
It's like completely different operating system. Grenades, these ones are like big bullets. You know, the grenade launcher has some mean recoil to it, but when you throw an object, no recoil. Don't got to worry about it. No soreness in the shoulder unless you throw it too hard. Don't throw it too hard. Tear your rotator cuff in grenade training. But yeah, the idea that like I'm gonna use a grenade is so absurd to me. But like, what was the? There's
so
foolish. Yeah.
Did you say there was other, or the guy with the grenade was the news you wanted to bring up?
Well, that was part of the news I wanted to bring up because I was just like, I can't not talk about this. This is so.
Oh yeah,
absurd.
no, that's crazy.
So absurd. that somebody's just like, oh, I got a grenade on me.
It's like, this will solve everything.
This is
the last defense, the grenade.
It's probably the most entertaining suicide by cop case I have ever heard in my life.
Yeah, suicide by cop always made sense to me.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go out, dude.
Let's go out. Well, he whew.
Let's go.
He was waiting. He was ready. But watched the Sounders play Sporting Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. Big time win.
Huge win.
And I like Kansas City.
Yep, that's
I'm a
right.
Kansas City fan. But I guess they're not doing that good this year.
Sporting Kansas City, not a great.
Yeah, it was like the first time I'd seen you post something on your Instagram stories.
I've posted a couple other things related to the Seattle Sounders, but not quite like this. I was very excited.
You gave a highlight of each one of the goals.
Oh, yeah.
There were some sick goals. Those headers.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought the header goal was so hard to do.
I'm sure it is.
But just because it feels like it would hurt your head.
But at least for Jordan Morris, seems easy because he
does it twice a day.
Pretty much. It seems like it certainly seems that way, but Jordan Morris to get all 4 goals.
Whew.
I mean,
wait, so the hat trick is 3 goals. Is there even a term for 4 goals?
I don't think there's a term for 4 goals.
Damn, they might have to call it a Morris.
A Morris, yeah. First player in the Sounders franchise to ever score 4 goals in one match, and the first hat trick of the MLS season. So
here we go.
Pretty big achievement. And I think that's Jordan Morris's second hat trick. A few years ago, I think he had one against FC Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. But also, have to shout out to Leo Chu.
Leo Chu?
3 assists on those goals.
Oh, okay. There we go.
So an assist hat trick, An
assist hat trick. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm going to call it. I don't know.
I almost like that better.
I don't know if anybody else is calling it that, but
it's an assist hat trick. That's
yeah.
sick.
So Apple TV has the exclusive like contract for like the MLS season pass. So if you want to see like all the matches and stuff, it's through Apple TV.
Oh, that's kind of annoying.
Not great. I'd rather it be through like ESPN or something. They don't convey information.
I don't think I've ever owned an Apple product since the early iPods.
Yeah, I think I had a Touch. The Touch was the last thing I had.
Yes, there we go.
But I just like the thing I wanted to point out with them is it's so minimalist. It's like an Apple product, watching the broadcast, that it didn't tell you for like 30 minutes that Sporting Kansas City was only playing with 10 guys on the field because they got a red card. When you have
they got a secret red card?
Well, the red card happened, right, and it was pretty obvious.
In the moment. But if you
would just tuned in, you'd be like, man, Sporting Kansas City's just really not doing well.
They're not putting the pressure on
It seems like they're missing an entire person. But
it is hard to count to 11 like that.
Oh, for sure. Especially when they're all moving around and the camera angles changing and stuff. But
how early did they get it?
They probably got it pretty early in the second half.
What was it for?
So 2 fouls basically that were aggressive enough to warrant a yellow card, right?
Okay.
So if you
slide tackling,
slide tackle, but you do it improperly and in a way that's dangerous or to deliberately throw somebody off their footing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually, this demonstrates, I don't know that much about the technical rules of soccer, but it's one of those things I'll know it when I see it. I'm like, that's a yellow.
That's no good. That guy went too far.
Yeah, but
so red card, just cumulative yellow cards.
In
this case, it wasn't.
In this case, yes. So two yellows in one game. Red, he's out. They're playing with 10 guys.
What's the least amount of guys you've ever seen on the field?
I've never seen less than 10, but I'm sure it's happened.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's happened.
Have you seen 10 versus 10? Where there's red cards on both sides?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Not very common.
But never 9 versus 10.
No.
And never 11 versus 9.
No. Oh, I couldn't imagine. Oh.
I can imagine. It sounds fun.
It sounds... Well, it depends on which team.
Yeah, if it's your team or the other team.
It depends on which team.
That's a great point.
You support. But, yeah, I watched it at Gig Harbor Brewing Company. Not their Gig Harbor location, but South Tacoma way. Cool little spot. Definitely worth checking out.
It makes me think of... so we saw Sean Patton on Sunday, and he had an opener who had this bit about rooting for a sports team. And if you were to trade all of your players with your least favorite team's players, which team would you love?
Yeah, no, I so we both
you root for the colors, or do you root for the boys?
Yeah, it's I'm going to be thinking about that for weeks. Weeks. Maybe the rest of this season. Like, every time I see the Sounders now, like, I'm just going to think about that.
Like, if he got traded, would I still like him? And what if they all got traded piece by piece?
Especially if they all moved over to Portland.
Oh, yeah. Is that your least favorite? That's our strongest rivalry.
Yeah, I don't like the Timbers.
I used to live right down the street from the Timber Stadium.
From Providence Park?
Yep.
It's a nice stadium.
I lived on the same street.
It's a very nice stadium.
Starts with a B, but I can't remember. Burnside.
Yeah, but no, don't like the Timbers. And if they were to swap, and I mean everybody, not just the players, but the coach, the technical staff, the ownership, if everything switched, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what...
You don't know? Well, it's funny because there almost is nothing to do.
Yeah.
But your mind would be warped.
Yeah.
It'd be warped.
There's something important about the city and the brand, too.
Yeah.
Right? There's something to be said for that.
Because it's not like you just chose the Seattle team because you liked it the best. You chose it because it's local.
Yeah.
So if the guys moved away, they wouldn't be local anymore.
No, they certainly wouldn't.
I like local things.
I think a lot of people. Well, like
it's more convenient.
Being a fan of your city's sports team.
Very common.
Very common, and it makes sense.
Willie actually had an interesting take. He was very passionate about this last night, where he said that he's against other team sports bars in your state. He says if you support another team, you should have to go to the opponent's sports bar and tough it out, or win a great victory.
That's a hot
I like
take.
that. I like that take. It was a strong stance.
You like it?
Yeah, because I think that it promotes inclusion. It's diversity only matters if it mixes.
Mm.
To really get your, and then you get if you lose, you lose in front of a bunch of people who are happy. And if you win, you get to be happy in front of all the people devastated. That's otherwise you're hiding.
That might be the best revenge.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be the one guy wearing your Timbers gear in the Sounders bar.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good when the one guy who has the Timbers jersey on is having a great time and everybody else wishes they were dead.
Exactly, but it's great to be that person.
I'm sure it.
And then the other way, then everyone gets to someone to be like, ha ha.
Well, I feel like in Philly they'll beat you.
Well, that's the price you pay.
That's the price you pay.
It's real fandom out here.
I don't know. It's I think in the United States in particular, we have a strong attachment to our city's sports teams because like if you look at the Premier League, for instance, in the UK, London's got like 6 or 7 teams because it's such a big city and there's so many soccer fans and soccer clubs that you have like 6 or 7. So it's like, then like, is it your neighborhood? Like, I don't even know. I feel like, I don't know European, especially like Premier League fans that much, but it's like, I wonder what dictates like their loyalty because I feel like in the United States, it's very much where you're from or where you are.
Yeah, right. Yeah, very rarely does someone, although I have heard that like the NBA is becoming more of a player league rather than a team league, and people root for players more than they root for teams and follow their favorite player around. I wonder if
Interesting.
that wonder how if that's a true progression or just something that people have been making up and spouting off.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know what to think because every time I talk to people about the NBA, I don't watch the NBA myself, but like a lot of the people I talk with about the NBA are like, oh, if you could have seen it in the 90s, like it was so much better. And it's
and everyone laments for the past.
Yeah, so nobody says that about MLS though. They're like, don't pay attention to the 90s. It never happened. We're not going to talk about it.
That's funny.
But yeah, that was gosh, what an interesting thing to think about. But now I'm big fan of the Sounders. Also, wanted to mention Tacoma, our soccer team, the Tacoma Defiance.
Oh yes,
they won their first match of the season on Sunday.
Nice.
They beat St. Louis City 2.
St. Louis City 2.
Yes, so their MLS team is St. Louis City, and then
they're the Twos.
That's the farm team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
gotcha.
A lot of big cities, they're like farm team, or they're like next level down is the same level. Yeah, same name. Just they call it 2, but it's kind of cool. We have Seattle Sounders.
2 like the number 2 or
yeah.
like TOO?
The number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. I mean, it would work with TOO too, but I haven't seen that. I feel like the branding's not as cool either. Because like one's sort of like the sequel, and the other's just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm part of the.
It's like, oh yeah, also
I'm part of the complete package. Don't forget about me.
Exactly, that's what 2 is. Don't forget about me.
But yeah, so they won on the road, but their home opener is coming up. I believe it's on the 2nd of April. It's going to be at Starfire Stadium. That's where they're playing now, which is in Tequila. You ever been to the Starfire Sports Complex?
I think I have, but I can't remember what it was for. I think it might have been for like a lacrosse game or something.
Yeah, they do like everything there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where the Tacoma Defiance is playing, and they're going to be playing against the Real Monarchs.
Are they called the Defiance after the zoo, you think?
After Point Defiance, I think so.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Maybe not the zoo necessarily, but just like the geographical feature.
Yeah, Defiance is an interesting name for it. As I'm thinking about it more,
it's cool. I really actually want to go to a game. I haven't been to a match yet because I've just been so infatuated with like the Sounders and MLS.
Well, it's starting off and they're going strong. So
I've kind of neglected it. And there's also this issue where they play at Starfire, which is in Tequila.
Okay. That's not the greatest place for...
Yeah, well, they used to play in Cheney Stadium, I think.
Way more convenient.
Way more convenient. I wish they still played. I get it. Like, baseball stadiums suck for soccer. They're awful. You want to go watch... You want an awful viewing experience, especially on television? Watch a New York City FC game played at Yankee Stadium. It's the weirdest thing you've ever watched.
That's funny. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that, but of course.
Like, some people are like, oh, I wish we had a soccer-specific stadium. We have to share one with a football team. Imagine sharing it with a baseball team. At least a football field and a soccer pitch are practically the same dimensions.
Close
a
enough.
Baseball field is completely different.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever, or I've seen football on a baseball field, too.
Oh, that's
ridiculous.
Gosh, I couldn't imagine. You know what blows my mind about baseball fields, too? Non-standard sizes.
Oh, yes. They have different outfields.
Yep.
So they can take advantage of the green monster and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that. I've heard I heard someone say they should do that for basketball stadiums.
Ooh.
And then you got to change your court. So maybe you have like a longer half court, or your 3-point line is further out.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, and then you cultivate it towards your home team.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Although I wonder how easy it is to adjust a baseball field's like outfield.
Yeah, probably that's the harder part.
Like it's like, what if we can't? I feel like with basketball, you just need the boards that they set up to make the hardwood floor. You just need to change that. Baseball stadium, I feel like it's a little bit more difficult.
You can bring it in.
Yeah, we'll
make it smaller.
We'll bring it in and sell some more seats. It's like you want to sit right next to the outfield.
Yeah, you just have the smallest outfield ever and a lot of home runs.
You just put a bunch of chairs like in the outfield. But yeah, Tacoma Defiance playing Real Monarchs on the 2nd of April.
Awesome.
It's $18, I think, to get into the match.
Not bad.
Or you can buy. I think this is the first time ever they're offering season passes. $200.
Wow, that's not that bad at all.
Not bad at all. You get 14 guaranteed home games.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
That's less than $10 a game.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good value. I might,
Interesting.
maybe I'll spring for it next season.
Speaking of tickets,
Mm-hmm.
I sent you a message the other day about the local opera
Yeah.
is putting on a production of the Tacoma Way,
Yeah.
which is the retelling of the story of how when Tacoma stormed out the Chinese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Tacoma Method.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Tacoma Method. Thank you.
No.
Which is like it's a great, very interesting, important historical story in the Tacoma world.
And
So I think it's great they're doing this, but it's an interesting, I'll be interested to see what kind of take they have on it. And, we actually know the guy who's playing the mayor,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
the drunken tenor.
Yep.
And so I'd be, he said that he's really playing a villain,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is kind of a cool character to play.
Yeah, very cool. But the interesting thing about
He's going to be an anti-Chinese villain.
the whole thing that blows my mind about the Tacoma Method is back then they were like, oh, what a civilized and
This is the
this-
way to get it done.
this is moral, this is right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Tacoma Method is crazy.
Eh.
Well, and the fact that it was setting a precedent of eradicating Chinese,
Yeah.
or not eradicating, but moving them out,
Well,
exiling them.
Well, from what I understood, the movement was already happening. It's what Tacoma did was, people were like, maybe we'll just make this more orderly. Because from what I understand, in some cities, like Seattle in particular, it was
Real
basically
hodgepodge.
it was like a race riot, pretty much.
Okay.
Just a bunch of guys with guns, we're let's get them out of here, and busting up businesses.
But this
and
was
stuff.
the mayor told us all to do it on this day.
Yeah, they probably got eviction notices in the mail.
The lien was put on their house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'll be interesting. That's at I think the Rialto
Yeah, I
Theater.
think so this week.
Okay. Yeah. We might
I think they have 3 or 4 days of shows.
huh.
Yeah.
We might want to catch that one.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if maybe we got some time for that.
Yeah, that's a good
'Cause
event.
I think it was $18 a ticket or something like that.
Okay.
Not too bad at all.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the opera in a while.
No, I don't think I've ever been to the opera.
Oh my!
I know.
Well, you get a little class in you.
I know. It's I've been to the symphony.
Symphony almost counts.
Symphony
That's a
almost
distinct
counts.
thing, although I think.
Yeah. I was really there for the bassoons.
Bassoons are sick.
Yeah, my favorite instrument.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Great, interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear the bassoon that much in popular music.
No,
It's a lot more trumpet and saxophone.
the bassoon, high barrier to entry.
Oh, really?
It's a very expensive instrument.
Oh.
Very difficult to get to. There's 2 factories that make them in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a 6 or 7 year long waiting list.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they use some special wood that only grows in the Black Forest.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is kind of cool. Makes it special.
That makes it very special. I'm a huge woodwind guy. Favorite
Oh, yeah.
section, woodwind section by
I agree.
far.
I would prefer it to the brass.
What a great... Yeah, brass is a bit overrated.
Mm-hmm.
I think brass can sometimes drown things out, too.
Yeah, it's a good. But when you need to blare, you can hit some brass. But when you want a little more delicate intricacies,
Percussion, also overrated.
well, I heard this quote from James Brown. He said every instrument's a drum. Every instrument can be percussion.
I don't like it, but I think he's right.
Yeah,
I think he's right.
I like that quote. Probably one of the smarter things James Brown ever said.
Yeah. Representing the James.
Exactly. I like any James quotes.
But I saw the Seattle Symphony. Haven't seen the Tacoma Symphony.
Well, might have to put it on our Grit City to-do list. Well, in the long term,
Yeah, for sure.
keep our eyes peeled for the symphonic offerings.
I think I drove by them, like going to practice, like the performers in the symphony, because I was near, like, the theater district, and I just saw a bunch of people, like, with cases with, like, wheels on them. It must have been, like, the bassist or the cello players, like, just big cases with wheels on them. And it's like, I wouldn't play that instrument just for having to transport it alone.
Yeah.
Give me the piccolo. Piccolo's
give me the triangle.
You can take the piccolo as a carry-on on a plane.
Exactly. You can hide it up your sleeve.
You can't carry on the tuba.
Yeah, I saw Ron Burgundy pull out a tiny flute. Or actually, was he playing the mini flute or the piccolo in Anchorman? Pulled it right out of his sleeve. Now that's convenient. Can't do that with a.
There's a lot of
tenor sax.
Small convenient instruments that maybe we should incorporate. But make a whole symphony around small and convenient instruments, so they can all fly without having to check bags.
Yeah, like the opposite of going to see the Paco Bell.
Yeah, like if you get the penny whistle in there,
ooh,
you can do My Heart Will Go On.
At least.
Costs more than a penny, though.
Oh, yeah, these days.
Yeah, unfortunately.
These days
it's getting crazy out there with prices. Speaking of which, if you're looking for affordable housing, the Tacoma Housing Authority is expanding their wait lists.
Oh.
They're allowing 2,000 applicants onto their wait list for affordable housing. So,
well, that's great news.
Yeah, if you're looking for it, it's out there.
That's awesome.
Yes.
You don't hear that kind of news very often.
No, you don't. And, I mean, with interest rates going up, I'm sure some people could certainly use it.
Yeah, well, that's good to spread the word.
Yeah, I thought people would like to know that. Are you familiar with a place that was called Little Radio?
No.
On Pacific Avenue, where, like, that one end where it's sort of becoming a bustling, like, restaurant and bar area. There used to be this place called Little Radio. They had, like, beers and sandwiches. They went out of business. I don't think they survived the pandemic. But a brewing company called North 47 is moving in, and they're going to be opening up a new, like, restaurant / tap room called West 122 in the old space. So I'm kind of excited for that.
Interesting.
Because I've never tried the this North 47 brewing before, but if they set up this location close enough.
Yeah, how soon do you think it'll be open?
I can't remember if they said summer or fall.
Okay, not too, but within the year.
I think within the year, and I guess they talked with either one of the owners or the chef, but they want to do sort of like pastas and stuff there. So I think that might be a good pairing with beer. It wouldn't be the first place I've been that, like, a brewery ran a tap room and they served pasta.
Of course.
But yeah, it's a interesting name. The brewing company's North 47, and then the restaurant's going to be called West 122.
Oh, nice. So we got the parallel in the...
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
It's neat.
47, 142, is that what you said?
Yeah, 47, 122.
122, thank
you. Yep. That's that should be Tacoma.
Well, that's good. That's exciting news for the future of our Tacoma.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of vacant buildings in Tacoma.
Yeah.
And
just waiting to be capitalized upon.
I know the Chamber of Commerce does this thing. Have you seen it where they turn vacant building fronts into, like, art displays?
Yeah, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah. Which, now that I know that, I'm like, wow, there's a lot more vacant buildings than I thought there were. Because now when I see these art displays, I'm like, oh, it's a vacant building.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a lot of vacant buildings in Tacoma.
Well, less and less every day.
Which
I think we're moving in the right direction.
Well, because there was that one that burned down on Fawcett. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the video. I follow this Instagram page. I think it's Tacoma Looks Like Shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of variants of it in different cities.
Mm-hmm.
I think it started in Portland.
Okay.
But yeah, the Tacoma one is pretty nice, pretty good if there's a fire around to catch it.
It's funny. My brother, he lives in Richmond. I think he follows one that's similar for Richmond.
Oh yeah.
And they sell like merchandise too. And I think he has like a koozie that has like a possum on it, and it says Bitchmond, Virginia.
Simple.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yep. But yeah, that fire, like I could see it from where I work, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder if that was the Metropolitan Development Council building."
Oh.
Because it was actually right across the street from the MDC, but I was like, I hope the MDC doesn't burn down, because the MDC is like this non-profit that helps people find housing. And it would be ironic if their office is burnt down, so the MDC didn't actually have a house.
Oh, that would. Well, you know what their first priority would be.
They tell all the homeless people that they have like in one of their like shelters, they're like, you gotta get out. We gotta set up the office here. We lost the office. We gotta.
Yeah, it's like there was somewhere where I actually think it's relatively common when the fire station burns down. Or I've heard a couple different stories, but no, I can't place where they are.
Yeah. That's like this story I heard a while ago where this guy was mad at the police department, so he busted up all their police cars with his tractor, and then he just drove away because they didn't have any cars to chase him with.
Oh, perfect.
I mean, they caught him later, of course.
Yes,
like,
but not in the immediate getaway.
He got charged with 2 counts of felony mischief.
Mischief is actually a very high crime for as silly as it sounds.
Yeah,
criminal mischief is very one of the worst things you can do, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's felony mischief doesn't sound too good.
Yeah. Well, I think mischief is bad.
Yeah.
I think to me it seems more childish, but
it does seem very childish. Like if I'm thinking of felony mischief, it's like somebody did a prank that went too far.
Exactly.
They
didn't unforeseen consequences. It was spiraled out of control.
Like they pulled out a hand grenade when the police showed up.
That's mischief.
That's very
hand grenade. Exactly. Great call.
They were doing a social experiment for YouTube. What happens if we pull out a grenade when the police show up and they just shoot you?
Great, really. Yeah, what a little mischievous guy he was.
What a felonious and mischievous fellow.
Those are the 2 words on his gravestone.
Oh man.
So do you got any Tacoma related things this upcoming week?
I'm trying to find events, and like a pedestrian, I look them up on Google, and Google doesn't really filter or weigh events. So like 3/4 of all the events are like, there's a scavenger hunt going on,
or like the Michaels is having a pottery.
Or
lesson.
There's swimming lessons for babies. If anybody's interested in swimming lessons for babies, hit up Google. Every now and then I find a little gem, like when that little Tacoma theater was putting on Shrek the Musical. It's like, I feel like people should know about this. Not because I think they'd like to go see Shrek the Musical, but the fact that a small theater troupe is putting on Shrek the Musical here in Tacoma.
Well, Shrek is big.
Shrek is big.
And the soundtrack was huge.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God.
The soundtrack.
I mean, Leonard Cohen owes his career.
Smash Mouth.
Yeah, right. And more.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the opera, the Tacoma Method opera. I'm trying to think. I mean, I talked about the Tacoma Defiance home opener at Starfire Sports Complex.
We really covered a lot of ground in this episode.
I think we did. If there's any other events, you know what? You let us know if there's something else going on. And we'll put it on next week's cast, which might be too late for your event, but
you'll have to review it and tell us how it went.
Yeah.
There we go.
But we won't give you any credit. We'll pretend that we went to the event.
That's how it's done in Grit City.
That's how we do it. It's the old. It says Chandler or Chandler Noble Hatch. Or Buddy says it's the old Tacoma switcheroo.
There we go.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess we'll say goodnight to the Gritizens and tell them to keep living like the mountains out.
Have a good one.
See you next Tuesday, Monday.